Hi there, Jessica. How you doing? All right. So I've got your work up, and now I just have to figure out what. Oh, there it is. Okay, ready to roll. Right here we go. So okay, I've got a couple of comments. So before we even start, one thing I noticed is that this PDF is formatted as single page instead of spreads. And even if I spread this out, so if I go to, and I'm in Acrobat right now, but if I go to View and come to Page Display and say Two-Page View, now I get the front cover is spread with page one. So that tells me that, and then that back cover is spread with the something other than the front cover, which it should be spread with, right? Remember I did my video where I folded up the mock-up and kind of marked the pages so you can have a look to see what happens when you take it apart to see which pages are grouped with which pages in the actual printer spread. So that's really important. Now, for this, you want to design this in what are called reader spreads, which means that your document would have page one as the cover as single page. The last page would be page 12, single page. Those would be grouped together. In between, page two would be formatted with page three. These are called viewer spreads, so we can see how the spreads actually work. Okay, I'm going to go back and say view, and I'm going to go back to that one page, single page view. So we can take a look at the individual pages. But that's really, really important. I mean, in terms of production, if this isn't set up in spreads, there's going to be some very, very serious considerations to troubleshoot this into reformatting the document into being able to spread the pages and show your impositions, and also to show the difference between, and so you understand the difference between printer spreads and viewer spreads. Now, very, very, very important that you go over, and I don't know if you did or not, but if you did, I'd like you to review, and if you didn't, it's super critical. These last four announcements, welcome to week 6, how to set up your booklet, especially that one. Welcome to week 7 and how to adjust your regs. All four of these will really, really help you in setting up this book. This especially, you've got to view this. This really gives some pertinent information into production and the way that you set up your files. So unfortunately, what I would like to be able to do is take a look at the front cover, then come over and take a look at page 2 with page 3, just like we see in our mock-up. There's the front cover. Then the inside of the front cover is page 2, which would be spread with page 3, and then next would be page 4 and 5, 6, and 7 for the centerfold, etc. Okay, but since I can't really comment on composition, specifically two-page spread composition, because of the fact that they're not spread together, right? Just so you understand that. And if I do spread them together with two-page view here, they're not going to be spread with the page they belong with. Okay, so cover looks really, really cool. I love it. I love the cover. This was really smart. This black bar, which is perfectly harmonious with every one of these. So that was a great color choice there. Plus it increases the contrast enough in this particular montage of images to realize that, okay, hey, this is the title, okay? I'm okay with the right alignment here of the type, but you're a little close right here to margin. That's right on top of a no print zone. So I would bring that over to the left a little bit, just to keep it away from that no print zone right there. The actual configuration doesn't bother me at all because basically you're not using any kind of frames around these. If you were to use frames, or if these images all had individual frames like Time and Liver Sacks have, this wouldn't work because it would create all sorts of converging shapes based on those frames. Since these don't have frames, I think it works perfectly, and I think it's a beautiful front cover. Good job. Biography, page 1. Okay, now your justified type settings look pretty good. Okay, there's no rivers, there's no unusual spacings. I think you're looking fantastic. One thing I'm going to say though is I think the typographic color on this page is really, really super light. And the reason I say that is because your leading is enormous. The space between your lines, there's a little interruption. I don't know if you heard that, but one dog goes and the other two go crazy. So one dog heard something and started barking. Next thing I know, I had a lot of chaos here. So sorry about that. At any rate, I was talking about typographic color and the leading between these lines. It's really, really wide. I would reduce that a little bit. Typically, your leading should be within 20% of your point size. So if your point size is 10, your leading shouldn't be any greater than 12. And that's referred to typically as 10 over 12, okay? But right now, this is really super wide. Typeset looks good. That's a widow. You don't want that. Got to work that out. Listen, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. This is really critical, and I've really tried to emphasize the importance of this, and I've also included several different areas where I've recommended this, but old style numerals and small caps, it's really, really important. So for example, so here's a small, this should be set as September 12th. That if you use old style numerals, that your numerals would be set in old style, but that TH would be superscript, okay? Again, old style right there. Okay, now at this point, there's something that's happening that I'm really concerned about, and a lot of students do this, but really right here. So we've got the front cover, we got page 1. We don't see any more typography until way down here. There's a couple of captions, but at this point, this to me, it's just a matter of placing images on a page, which is not the greatest practice in the world when we talk about typography and layout. Certainly, it's important to it's important to know how to place images in a multi-page document. Sure, it's important to be able to set up your captions in a way that point to hierarchy, that point to that being a caption and not body copy. Absolutely. But we got to get some typeset in here, because right now you're just showing placement. Now we don't have any more typeset down here till this page. So what I would recommend in that regard is this: if you follow the 8-page format here, which is not required, but it's highly recommended, because this way you're kind of guaranteed that you'll be able to fit some things in. Now, for example, here, page 4 and 5, early works with supporting images. It doesn't just say supporting images. It doesn't just say images. It says early works, which means you have to write about them. So let's get some text in there, okay? I think it's really super important. Otherwise, as a portfolio reviewer or even a hiring professional, potentially when that time comes, you're showing your student portfolio to a hiring professional that's interested in hiring you. I think it's really important to note that right now, my question would be, okay, so there's just 3 pages of placed images. This isn't really showing me much of what I really want to see in terms of typography. So I think that by following this format, it will definitely help in that regard. And don't forget, it's just not image placement, it's also typography. And to a great degree, it's more important to show proficiency in typography than it is to show proficiency in placing images. Okay, so then we come down to Jurassic Park, and this, I guess, would be the most famous works from that page. So most well-known projects, early work with supporting images, and so there, I guess that's your early work, supporting images, but we definitely want to get some typography in here, as I mentioned. Sorry to keep harping on that, but it's really super important. This looks pretty good. Now, this is an inconsistent typeset from this because of the fact that the margins are different. The actual leading and the typesetting is a little bit different. So I don't know if that's your intent, and if it is, that's fine. I just want to make sure you're perfectly aware of that. Okay. And again, this is just, let me see. Seems like that leading right there is a lot wider than this leading. It is, definitely. So we've got a lot of inconsistency in your typeset here. So this points to one of the best and most effective tools in all of InDesign, and one of the reasons InDesign is such a wonderful page layout program, is the fact that you can include character and paragraph styles. We talked about styles, and I think it's really, really important at this point that as I was saying, at this point, it's important to show your styles. Now, if we jump over to week 6 presentation, cohesive design with style, it talks about style sheets and setting up your paragraph and character styles. And a lot of the inconsistencies that I'm seeing in your work point to style sheets. So I highly recommend setting up paragraph and character styles. as specifically as relevant to helping establish and adhere to the consistency in the pages. Okay. All right. So we've got references. Just want to see something really quick here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go jump through it. We'll do some real quick typography. That's a widow right there. That should be old style figures. That should be superscript. Old style figures there. Old style figures there. Okay, okay. These look inconsistent as well. Try that italic right there. It looks like it's almost been a little bit distorted. You might want to check that. It could be a PDF rendering. It's quite possible, but be sure you check that. So these are pretty consistent here. Good job. Check that. That definitely looks a little different than that typeset right there. Okay. Okay. Old style figures. I'm not sure what this double quote is right here. Because right now there's no place. If the design was approved, the kid was asked to design Creighton's Lost World admits. Ultimately, I think it's safe to say, yeah, you don't need a double quote there. That's just a single quote. Now listen, now when you do drop that to a single quote, this justified type, you're going to want to hang that quote. It's called hanging punctuation, and it's a snap to do, but you definitely want to hang that quote. Anytime you have quote or quotation marks or parentheses or even dashes or M or N dashes, you want to hang those and justify type. So if you just do a quick research on hanging punctuation, you'll see exactly how to do that. Let's come over here. Okay, I think that's all I had down there. Oh, great. 1990s old style right there. Again, old style. DC right there, small caps, 365, old style. Okay, that's nice typesetting right there. But again, look how that just destroys your X height. I mean, it's like you can almost see it. It's almost the first thing you see when you open the page are the large numbers, and they're default. Sure, it's nothing you did, but they're default. So we want to transpose to those two old style figures, and then there's a perfect opportunity there for small caps. So you definitely want to go through those videos on setting small caps and old style figures. And I would say that to go through and reset your type. Now listen, if you have, the typeface you're using doesn't have or has open type capabilities, but old style figures aren't available, all you got to do is come in here and select that and just reduce it by a point or two. And in the all caps, what you would do is just come over there and you would reduce the size as well accordingly. Right there. So you select that and then just reduce it by a point or two until it falls more in line with the X height of the typeface. And that way they won't be so obvious when you see them. Okay, it's really, really important. It's a super relevant way to establish your type. And I think it's really, I know I'm harping on it, but it's just that important. Theoretically on this page, these should all be hung quotes as well. Okay, all of this, so what you're doing is you're preserving that left margin, pulling the quote outside the margin. So that's really important. You definitely want to set that up too. All right, other than that, great job, 15 minutes. I did not want to do that, but I just really want you to understand here what we're looking at going into final presentation. So at this point, of course, it's very important to ask me any questions. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you need any clarification on any of the comments I've made or any of the things that we've learned in the class, please let me know and I'll be glad to provide in that regard. Thank you very much.